in your automobile, on your motorcycle, on SEPTA for you really courageous people. Um, so if that's where you are, throw your headset on and check us out. And you can also check us out old school, 900 AM, 96.1 FM. You can find us this morning on Facebook Live, which is where we hang out. You'll also find our signal on YouTube Live as well. But Facebook seems to be where most of the fun is. And the Facebook Live stream will be up in just a moment. And Kuwasa's making sure that, as I speak. Thank you very much, Kuwasa. So go ahead and do like I'm doing. Hit the share button and share this out with your friends and your family. I mean, come on, we share all kind of other stuff. Let's share some good news on this morning. We're going to open up the telephone lines on today at some point. And when we do, we want you to give us a call. Or you can always just interact with us on Facebook Live, and we'll shout out your concerns there. If you want to call, write the number down, put it in your telephone, lock it in, because if you're like me, you don't remember phone numbers anymore. But you want to have this one locked in. 215-634-8065. And if you want us to pay for it, I don't know, quite frankly, who doesn't have free long distance anymore, but for the 3 or 4 of you out there without a long distance plan that's free and included in your phone, give us a call at 866-361-0900. This show is brought to you by Power Interfaith. Check us out at powerinterfaith.org. Bishop Dwayne Royster is the interim executive director of Power Interfaith. I see he's got his T-shirt on this morning, repping. There it is, Power. And I am one of the co-directors of Power Live Free campaign, Mark Kelly Tyler. Glad to be with you all on this morning. So we're broadcasting to you live today from one of the soon-to-be named anarchist jurisdictions of America. You currently know us as Philadelphia, but trust me, it won't be long before His Highness, the President of these here Imperial United States, will rename us. Yes, that's right. You heard it here first. I'm calling the shot. We're soon to be named an anarchist jurisdiction. Now, let me just tell you, he doesn't want to do that too soon because he needs Pennsylvania. He doesn't need New York City, doesn't need the state of New York. He won't win it. Doesn't need Washington or Oregon. He won't win them. So he has named Portland, Seattle, and New York City anarchist jurisdictions, pledging to take away any federal funding from them because they can't, quote unquote, get their stuff together. Mind you, I think about 20 or 30 of his close associates who helped him get elected and were in his administration have been convicted of felony crimes at some point in the last 4 years. His CDC is putting information out saying, oh, don't do this. Oops, sorry, my bad. 200,000 plus Americans have now died under his watch. Cities are burning, not under Biden's America, but under his America. But again, these 3 cities can't get it together. And trust me, folks, as soon as he doesn't need Pennsylvania anymore, should he win re-election, you will know that Philadelphia and Lancaster, who's out there protesting right now, anybody who raises their voice in dissent will be labeled and deemed an anarchist jurisdiction. I think we have officially found ourselves in The Handmaid's Tale or The Hunger Games or something. How does it feel to be an anarchist jurisdiction, Royster?
Well, it's better than being a Trump jurisdiction. So let me just say that from the door.
That's fair.
You know, I can take that. I think the problem I have with the anarcho jurisdiction, I think this is a way of the Trump administration going forward to remove protections, remove the ability to have to follow the Constitution, remove the ability to have to follow the rule of law in these particular places. This is more of a way for him to move his fascism, to be able to declare that these jurisdictions are seditionist, and then to be able to take the action that he wants to take to shut down these areas and enforce martial law. And I know some people are out there saying that's extreme. There's nothing extreme about anything that Donald Trump does. Trust me, if you can imagine it, Donald Trump has imagined it, Donald Trump will do it. And this is what's happening. He and William Barr want to have a field day, and they want to be able to take control of the country and do whatever they want to do. And that's what's happening. And I totally agree with your assessment. He won't touch Pennsylvania yet because he needs Pennsylvania voters. That's why we need to get out and vote, people. Vote, vote, vote.
Vote like your anarchist jurisdiction needs it.
That's right. Absolutely.
I like that. Anarchist jurisdiction. AJ. What's up, AJ?
Yes.
NYC
yes.
AJ. So, I mean, listen, let's be real. I think at this point now, even Donald Trump knows that he's not going to be reelected. Now, I think that's what he fears. I'm with you. That doesn't mean anything, right? I mean, this guy, I mean, could you see him? He could literally stand there like, you know, if Biden wants me out, he got to come put me out the office. And I mean, in his crowd would like that. This is the UFC crowd, you know, that's like, yeah, fight for the office. You know, forget an election, fight. Strongest one takes the office. I mean, anything is possible, but it's clear to me with the way in which they are now running with dispatch in the Senate to confirm before the election. They've said, look, forget the hypocrisy. We all know we're hypocrites. So yes, Grassley is on board now, though he said, like everyone else, he would never do it. Cory Gardner, we were wondering yesterday in the tight race in Colorado, he said, I'm in, whatever, call it a flip-flop, you know.
Got to shore up his base.
Right.
Yeah.
They're not going to have enough votes. So even if Mitt Romney, Susan Collins, and Lisa Murkowski all bail out, they will still be able to do this. They still have the tiebreaker, which is Mike Pence, who is technically the president of the Senate. So they're going to make this happen. And I think they're just saying, you know what, put all the chips into the middle of the table and let the chips fall where they are. So if nothing else, we get 3 justices, and that will last us, you know, a lifetime. And we will perhaps lose the Senate. No, let me change that. You will absolutely lose the Senate in the process. But I guess you got to think, if you're them, Royster, wouldn't you agree? You're probably going to lose it anyway. So,
yeah, I mean, I think they're taking a calculated risk, right? They know they're
sure.
probably not going to be back in the majority, and they will not be able to get who they want for the next president.
Yeah.
When you take a look at the rest of the justices on the court, they're all relatively young. I mean, think about it. John Roberts, when he was put up by President Bush, he was only 50 years old.
Right.
So he's only like 58, 59 years old. He still probably has another, 15, 20 years on the court. The new justices, Gorsuch and Kavanaugh, are relatively young in terms, I think they were in their 50s when they were nominated to the Supreme Court. So when you start looking at the court is not an older court. It's a young court. So the next president might not even get a chance to make any nominations to the Supreme Court. So they're looking and saying, this is the last chance for us to do this. What they are not counting on is that the Supreme Court is not necessarily set at 9. The next president can actually increase the number of jurists on the Supreme Court so that it could sway the balance back. But here's the challenge with this.
Yeah.
If you do that, then you begin to set precedent for any president that doesn't like the Supreme Court to go and select more jurists to cancel out the jurists that they don't like.
I don't care. I don't care. Do it. Do it. And let me just say, no, seriously,
No,
I am finally with Denise Clay on this. Denise,
Okay.
Denise and I, used to co-host, a show here and elsewhere. And Denise would always say, she would say, Republicans show up to a fight with an AK-47.
Mhm.
Democrats show up with a spork. She says it's not even a fork. It's one of those little round forks from like Kentucky Fried Chicken or something for your mashed potatoes and gravy.
Yes, yes.
And so, and I am with her now at this point. You know what? I don't care because they have thrown the gauntlet down. They will do anything when they have power. So Democrats, if you win the White House, if you take the Senate and you hold the House and you have all the chips, expand that thing out. Heck, put 21 jurors on. I could care less at this point. Make it a big old party and let the Republicans cry bloody murder because they have zero decency. They do not play fair. So stop playing fair with people who they don't honor your rules. I mean, Lindsey Graham said, you can hold my words against me. I will never do this if the shoe were on the other foot. Oh, did I say that? Well, I don't care. We're voting. In 41 days, we're voting.
Yeah, I mean, Lindsey Graham has said, yeah, they've got have the votes already. It's
Hey,
actually interesting. Mitch McConnell is actually in the race for his life in Kentucky right now.
yeah.
He's running against a former school teacher, and it's a tight race. I wonder how the folk in Kentucky are going to take this and deal with that. We should probably get somebody from the Kentuckians for the Commonwealth on to have a
Oh,
conversation about his race.
well,
Uh, what's that?
so we'll talk. Can we talk about Kentucky for a second?
Sure, talk about Kentucky.
Because this may play into what you're saying, this and what's going to happen in a couple of days with regard to Breonna Taylor. So they are expecting the grand jury to now come out and declare whether or not they're going to bring charges in any kind of charges against these officers. They're concluding their investigation and their report, and they have already declared a state of emergency in Louisville. And so they're bracing themselves for the worst. Who knows what's going to happen? But again, if they come out with zero charges like they did in Ferguson,
that's gonna be bad.
well, right. And I'm hoping that people look after the protest. You got to go to the polls, and after the polls, as you and I said yesterday, you got to then turn that into policy. And well, protest, the polls, power, and then policy, and rinse and repeat.
Yep.
That's kind of the process that you have to do. So we got to watch that real quick. I want to know if we could do this in Facebook on Facebook Live. If you all could just put in the chat thread, your top priority for voting this November. And I raise this because of this. Just one thing. What is your top priority? Just put it in the chat right there. Come on, Raphael and Bernita, Rochelle, Bilal, Karen, Will, all of you. The NPR did a survey on Democrats and Republicans. Republicans, no brainer. The number one thing is the economy. It's money, right? They'd rather, as a Texas Lieutenant Governor said, I'll die for the economy. Kill me, coronavirus. If the economy can live, I'll be a sacrificial lamb. Funny how my Texas,
but that's a lie. But anyway,
but you notice how my Texas accent sounds just like my South Carolina accent. There's no difference. But for Democrats, for the first time, it was not racial justice. It was not, what you would think, health care. It was climate justice.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know who they were talking to. Climate is very important to me, but I'm curious if folk, Will Mega says money. That's the top one. Kind of guess that. Thank you, Will. But for others, just put it in there. We'll come back and revisit that after the break. So, hey, one last thing I have. I know we got a guest coming at 6:20. Can I just remind people, don't get caught naked voting this November.
Okay. Go explain that one. Explain that one.
What's to explain? You don't want to be naked when you're voting, do you?
No. So explain it. There's more to it than that. There's more to it than that.
No. Well, the front page of the Inquirer says, "Don't be naked." They said that they're going to be tossing out naked ballots.
Naked ballots. Okay.
Yes, mail-in ballots that come in naked.
Oh, that don't have signatures and everything. Yeah.
No, well, if you don't, so you have to have the secrecy envelope.
Yes.
And if it's not in the secrecy envelope, then placed in the outer envelope and signed and sealed and everything. And it comes in, if you just use the main envelope that has the return address and all that, your ballot is considered naked. And it will be tossed out like a hanging chad in a hot second. PA Supreme Court has already said that. So, folks, trust me, this November, you don't want to get caught naked. It's going to be cold, and it'll be a whole lot colder if they toss thousands of Philadelphia votes out because they've come in naked. Read all the instructions, use both envelopes, sign where you need to sign, use the same color ink on your ballot. If you start with black, finish with black. If you start with blue, finish with blue. If you need help, call us early in the morning on this show and ask for help. But again, please, for God's sake, don't be out there naked.
That's very good advice, and so don't send a negative ballot. And if you decide to go out and vote November 3rd, don't vote with no clothes on either. So make sure that you get out and vote with appropriate attire so that everything can go well in both circumstances. So deeply appreciate that, and thank you for pointing that out for us, so that we will not go out and be naked on election day.
Yeah, you can't.
No,
So,
we will not do that.
No. It's not good. And I mean, look, this is going to be the new hanging Chad. So I've been saying to you and I won't call the name of the player, but one of the Sixers, one of the star players with the big contract, one of the starting five has agreed. We've been